Hi, I'm Donnie Haulk, Commissioner for Rutherford County, and we're in budget talks with the departments of the county, and we're going to be asking questions and figuring out priorities and numbers, and I hope you enjoy this video series that we're doing. I hope everybody gets a chance to watch it. And Birgit, I'm going to start with you, Director of Economic Development. It's a very, 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 in my opinion, important role in the county, maybe one of the most important for our future.
Correct.
What are your concerns about your department?
I feel that I have an efficient department to be able to address the needs of the community. However, when it comes to products, that's what we don't have in the county. By products, I'm talking about buildings and sites where I can attract a new industry to come into.
So it's a challenge for you.
Yes, very much.
All right. And Devin, over airport manager, you guys served a critical role in this last disaster with the hurricane. And I went over and you guys were busy as bees.
Yep.
So what are your concerns about your department there with the airport?
I think one of the big concerns is development of the airfield as we move into the future. I think with the changes that are coming with advanced air mobility, with electrification, and some of those other challenges, getting three-phase power up to the airport and utilities to the airport will coincide with
That's a big deal.
being able to develop and draw companies into our area. And so that's a big concern moving forward, is the development of the airport in a healthy way. For, you don't want to build it before they come, so to speak, but you got to kind of at least be moving in that direction enough that as things start to develop, you're able to meet those needs rather than be behind the curve. And so
Do you have water and sewer there?
currently we do not have any sewer. We do have water at the airport. So right now everybody's on septic. And so that makes it a big challenge for drawing more larger.
It is. I found that that's, unless you're in a municipality in this county, you really don't have sewer.
Right. And we have worked with Rutherfordton, and as a county, they have already done pre-planning on what that would look like as far as drawing it out and attaching it in over near where Tanner is,
Okay.
the old Tanner's place is. So there is a sewer line that reaches out there from Rutherfordton. And so they have worked with a consulting firm to get those plans kind of drawn up in a rough way. But as everything else, as you wait year to year to improve, the costs continue to climb astronomically.
Am I hearing you correctly? Infrastructure would be your concern.
Infrastructure, as we kind of move into the future, is a huge concern for us. And dealing with obstructions that may come into our approach paths is another huge concern.
And Willard,
Yes, sir.
TDA Tourism, your board chair.
Yes, sir.
That's an exciting section of what we do in the county.
It is for me, I'll tell you today.
Yeah. So what are your concerns with your department there?
I would say that the main concern right now is it's really a fear that we're going to lose momentum. Over the last 7, almost 8 years, we had been developing tourism assets throughout the county. We do two things. We market the tourism assets we have, and again, we've had actively started developing tourism assets in concert with local municipalities, other partners such as the Thermal Belt Rail Trail, a number of funding agencies. We derive our income from occupancy tax. We are supported by a 6% tax from people who stay at hotels and inns and B&Bs throughout the year. That income has grown steadily, and I've been on the board off and on for about 8 years, and it's been steadily growing every year. And so that has greatly expanded our ability to create assets through what we call the Rutherford Bound Plan. Thanks to, or because of, rather, Hurricane Helene, there's a dramatic downturn because a great deal of our revenue has come from Chimney Rock and Lake Eure, and of course, they are in crisis right now. There's a lot of heroic effort going on to bring them back online, but that then has a ripple effect to our income. Now, in the world of problems, the folks suffering there, their problems far eclipse our concerns. But as I said, the concern is we have, over the last 8 years, through what we call the Rutherford Bound Plan, we've created these tourism assets, generated $23 million worth of new projects, whether it's streetscape improvements or helping park development. Kiwanis Park was one of our projects. The factory expansion for Kids Senses was one project. And we provided funding and working with these towns and municipalities very actively with 6 different Main Street communities. Like I say, $23 million has created a lot of tourism assets. And as our director, Don Kaysen, would say, and says frequently, when you make your where you live a better place to live, work, and play, you're going to attract more tourists here. And those tourists are going to bring this revenue, which...
And we have this beautiful area in the country.
Well, and that's why they come here. That's why people come here, because they're coming for the natural beauty. I would also argue because, the county's past slogan was small town friendly, and that's another reason they come. This is a welcoming community. I'm not from here. I've lived here 11 years, but I've never felt that I was not part of this community from day one. So I think that's a sort of an intangible that really brings people here, brings people back. We have innkeepers here who have return customers at the carrier houses here, for example, and they come back just to stay. They may have come for a wedding or some to go out and go to some kind of an event, but now they come and just hang out with them, and that, to me, speaks to the spirit of what we're selling here, so to speak.
And D, Director, Department of Social Services, what are your concerns with your department?
We are responsible as an agency for everyone in the community from age just born until age 200. Because we are responsible for those people, the services that we offer are mandated. They're mandated by the state, they're mandated by the federal government. And when they're mandated, you have to make sure those services happen. So the biggest concern for me right now is workforce retention. Keeping workers there to do the jobs. For example, if there's a call that says there's a child being abused, you can't say, I don't have anybody to go out. You have to make it happen. And what we have found, and not just me, but a lot of directors across the state, is if one county is paying more, they'll just go over there, because if you're going to do the hard work, they just go over where they're paying more. So it's been really difficult to raise salaries. I would love to, because I think this is a wonderful county and we deserve to have a good, strong workforce. And sometimes because we cannot get we can't pay the money, sometimes we don't always get the highest quality of worker. And what I mean by that is we would love to have people that have master's degrees in social work. But a lot of times we don't get that because we're just trying to get a body there, and then we'll try to train. The other thing that I'm really concerned about is our aging population. Baby boomers from 46 to 1964, that group, that cohort, they are getting older and they're living longer. And so what happens is that you have to consider what's going to happen. They're going to have some needs, whether it be dementia or the not able to live by themselves. Maybe they need long-term care. And if they're not able to pay for it, there's where Medicaid comes in. There's long-term care. So as a director, you have to look behind you to see what the numbers have been, but you also have to look ahead of you and see what's happening. And so right now we are concerned in Rutherford County and across the state that we've got to make sure that we are ready when the population begins to age and that we have services available. Lastly, there could be, one of the things that we appreciate so much is the commissioners giving us workers through Medicaid expansion. So when Medicaid expansion came to North Carolina and Rutherford County, it made a huge difference we're beginning to see the difference that it has made. And I think sometimes people feel like, oh, you just give out money. What happens is that when Medicaid expansion came, so that the providers. So it actually, our services also brings revenue to the county. And that's what a lot of people really don't understand and they really don't get. So we're concerned that Medicaid may be cut. And if it does, it will absolutely.
I think we're all
affect
watching that
Rutherford
right
County.
now.
We are. So those are the concerns, the possible cuts, the aging population, and workforce retention.
All right. Assistant Chief, one.
First, thank you for doing this. This is great.
Oh, I appreciate you guys coming out and being willing to talk about your department.
Yes, sir. So our primary goal is obviously public safety. Our focus right now is similar to DSS. We're looking at retention, staffing, and growth. I don't think people realize, especially when it comes to SRO officers,
That's a hot topic right now.
it really is. But interesting fact, since 1960, there has been zero fatality in school fires in the U.S. Zero. Not one child. But in just the year 2020 to 2021 to 2022, there has been 327 school shootings, 81 deaths, and 269 injuries. So just like I know you and Commissioner Haynes support the SROs. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but
All right.
the baseline is we got to get those 5 additional
Got to get them in the schools.
into the schools. And then we got to attract them, first of all, with the salary, which we're trying to get up. We did a base comparison with other Tier 1 counties, which is Cleveland, Caldwell, and McDowell. And the pay for sworn personnel differentiate from we're being paid 9% under to 100% under. So an individual doing my job would get paid 100% more in a nearby county. That's just based on Tier 1 counties. We're not comparing ourselves to Tier 2, Tier 3 counties but let's face the facts. If you live in Rutherford County and you can drive over to get a job and your family have financial burden like any other family, you're going to do what's right for your family. Our folks are dedicated. They are awesome folks, obviously, to do the job that they do because our folks have to put up with a lot. You're running into danger. It is what it is. But that's our main focus right now is staffing. And then there's some issue with growth. In North Carolina alone, in the last quarter of 24, they did a study. There's 28% of the police job in the state of North Carolina that's left vacant. So that's more than 1 in 4. We have to.
We are growing as a county physically as well. Yes, sir. With count, which is a great thing. I'm very happy about.
And one more, if I could, that is, we are very minimally staffed in each one of the categories. So we have 7 sworn individuals to patrol 567 square miles per shift. That's 7 sworn law enforcement officers for over 4,000 calls monthly. And while another county could have 14. So for each individual we lose, that's a lot to have to make up. And a caveat on top of that nowadays is we can't hire an individual off the street anymore. Used to, for the sheriff's office, we can hire somebody off the street, and then within a year's time, put them through BLET. Nowadays, with the new rules set by the commission, they have to be certified. The school itself is 6 months long. Most departments are paying for that school, paying them a salary.
Do we pay for that school?
We
in
do
Rutherford County?
We do not.
Okay.
We've been lucky enough to get folks that's been staying around or get folks that's certified. But long story short, if we lose one of those individuals, we're losing more than a $30,000 investment. So,
Chief Greenway?
Just, I guess, reiterate what Assistant Chief One was talking about. I think we're spot on with the retention of our staff that we have. We got some very talented, we're blessed to have the staff we have that have been committed to the sheriff's office, where they love Rutherford County, they want to stay here, they love the agency, and that commitment is there, that they want to end their career, retire from the sheriff's office here in Rutherford County. We're very fortunate and blessed with that. But I know as a young officer, a lot of times they start and it's like, now, this is fun, I'll do it. Then a few years later, the officer will have started a family, they have children, and it's like, I'm not doing right by my family. I'm doing a disservice when I can go next door or somewhere close by and increase my salary tremendously. It would make a difference. So to be able to attract staff when we do have openings, that we're competitive, and that when we do get good staff, we're able to retain them. That is a major priority that we're looking at and we're working toward. We're trying to put things in place above and beyond salary, to have a good working environment. And so we want to attract good staff. We want to have them trained. We want to help continue to train them, give them the proper equipment to do the job, mainly to do it safely, because they are going into very critical and dangerous situations daily. And to make sure that we are providing the care to have the equipment and the training to where they can do that properly. We want to make sure at the end of the shift they can go home to the families that love them and that they love. Then hitting on the SROs, we definitely, you see trends of violence, in other areas, and we don't want to be one of those areas that something bad happened and we not prepared. We don't want our schools to be a soft target. We want it to be a hard target and have good officers in those schools as SROs as well.